Hi guys, this is a video podcast on the geography of ancient Greece. As you know, Greece is a small country in southern Europe and it is a peninsula. The mainland of Greece sticks out and is surrounded on three sides by water: the Ionian Sea, the Mediterranean, and the Aegean. And as you can see, there are also many islands throughout the Mediterranean and the Aegean seas that belong to Greece. Mainland Greece is very mountainous, and the farms and villages were isolated from each other by the mountains and the seas. The mountains and the seas of Greece contributed greatly to the isolation of ancient Greek communities. Because travel over the mountains was difficult, the people in different settlements throughout ancient Greece had little communication with one another. And traveling by land was hard. Because people would either walk or ride in carts. The carts were pulled by mules. The roads weren't paved. Sharp rocks would shatter wheels. If your cart got stuck in the mud, that was not great. And people had to carry their own food and supplies. Another thing that slowed people down is their pace. They would travel in large groups instead of individually, and that would slow people down. Traveling by water wasn't much better. While people were never far from water, they adapted to that and learned to travel by ship. But sudden storms would drive ships off course. It would send them smashing into a rocky shoreline. It was very easy for ships to sink. These hazards encouraged Greek sailors to navigate close to shore, sail only during the daylight, and to stop at night to anchor. Well, this guy looks strangely calm. Farming in ancient Greece. Most people in ancient Greece made their living by farming, but as we said before, Greece was quite mountainous. Even in the plains and the valleys, the land was rocky and water was scarce. There are no major rivers flowing through Greece, and the rains that fell there fell during the winter months. So, farmers would build wide steps into the earth, into hills, to create more flat land for planting. But because they had such a scarcity of land, they could not grow wheat or barley. A few farmers did, but most farmers grew crops that needed less land, particularly grapes and olives. And olive oil was used for cooking, to make soap, and as fuel for lamps. In addition to small vegetable gardens, a lot of farmers would plant orchards of fruit and nut trees, and some of the Greek families kept bees to make honey. Greek farmers also raised animals. Since cattle needed that wide, flat land for grazing, which was not really available in Greece, the Greeks had to raise sheep and goats, which can graze on the sides of mountains. Sheep would supply wool for clothing, and goats would supply milk and cheese. Greek farmers kept some oxen, mules, and donkeys for plowing and transportation, and many Greek families also kept pigs and chickens. As the population of Greek communities grew, the existing farmland could no longer hold the amount of people there. They couldn't produce enough food to feed all of the people. So this is when ancient Greece started to colonize. Many Greek communities sent people across the sea searching for new places to farm so that they could ship food back home. But Greeks had to take very long sea voyages, and then they had to find a good location for their colony. They would look for areas with natural harbors and good farmland, and they tried to avoid places where local people might not like them. And then once they found their site, then they would have to build up their new community and make it successful. The first Greek colonists set out to start a colony in present-day Turkey, and they called it Ionia, which is in Asia Minor. And later groups set out to colonize parts of Spain, France, Italy, Africa, and along the coast of the Black Sea. And one of the major impacts of Greek colonization was cultural diffusion. Cultural diffusion is the spread of ideas and values from one place to another. Not only did Greek culture spread, but traders brought information ideas from other places back to Greece. All right, babies. I hope you liked the presentation. See you tomorrow.